Are we barking?
We're not barking today, Mike. Welcome to the Banging on the Drum special. I am here with three special guests today. We have our newest guest, Garrett. Garrett, how you doing?
Going good, going good. Thanks for having me on. Excited for
Yes.
this episode.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this for a while, and Garrett's kind of our wrestling expert.
This is my jam right here.
So this was the one to bring him on to. And then we have a familiar face in Chef John. How you doing, Chef John?
Doing well. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, we got him. We got him. The jailbird John is back in the building.
I'm back and I'm out.
And then I think everybody's fan favorite, we got Super Taster Mark in the building. How you doing, Mark?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing well. And then joined with me as always, we have M Dog in the house. How you doing, Mike?
Just dandy. Doing well, doing well.
All right, so let me give a little breakdown of how this is going to go. So if you've been with us for a year, you've seen us do this with fast food, but basically we're just doing a wrestling bracket. We tweeted it out, so if you want to look at the bracket that we're going off of, you can look at the Twitter to see that. We did make a few minor changes, so I guess it won't be too accurate, but we're just going round by round. We got 5 of us. We're going to vote on what wrestlers we think are going to win. Actually, we're going to do that real quick. I'm going to go around and I just want people, I'm going to go one by one and people to say like what their biases are going to be when they come to voting. So I'll go first. Like I probably know the least about wrestling in here. So I'm just going to go with people I know and maybe intro music, I guess, and then Badass Billy Gunn. I'm taking him as far as he can go. So Garrett, what do you got?
Who was this one for?
Wait, what do you? No. So just like what your biases are going to be, like if you're a big D-Generation X guy.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, D-Generation X was great. I was a big fan of Badass Billy Gunn because I liked his famouser move. Fame asser. Yes,
Yep, the pun was there.
That was a bias. I was a huge Hardy Boys guy too because I could not stand Edge and Christian as heels, and the Dudley Boys were kind of just like a backup. But damn, did the Dudley Boys do some crazy things with Mae Young that would like never be topped? Like, power bombing her off the stage at the age of like 78 or something like that, 74, 78, something like that. Very old woman taking bumps like a champ. So that's, Dudley Boys, props to them for that. Continuing on Mae Young, she had a baby hand with Mark Henry as a storyline. Like these things, you grow up with the Attitude Era. It's just like one gold nugget after one gold nugget. I mean, you could go on and on with these things, and everything is just great.
Yeah, no, I'm in the camp. Like, I'm not a big wrestling fan, but to prepare for this, I was watching some shit, and it definitely hooks you, like, with some of the stupid shit that they do, like the dumb suspense, I guess, like a soap opera. But yes, you are our expert. That was good. I don't know, good recall from you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on, but I can save them for others because there's just so many that you can go off of.
So we got some real dudes in here for this. All right, John, what do you got for your biases?
So I got some biases. I always like what I like, but you might be getting some heel votes out of me as well. I might need to play the heel in this one. So
I like it.
I'll be unpopular if I have to.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
I'm just going to echo Garrett. The Attitude Era is when I got introduced, when I grew up, and kind of when it started getting soft is when I phased wrestling kind of out of my life. So I'll be probably very biased towards that Attitude Era. Also Goldust. Goldust was my dude to main in any of the video games. Shattered Dreams was a epic move. So that little cross-dresser is going to be going as far as we can take him.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, so mine will be like if it's an attitude era guy, I'm pushing him through. So I think we're gonna have a lot of guys from there, based on what people have just said. And then I would say probably if I know their finisher and I like their finisher, then like if that's like what has to be the thing that separates it, that's what I'm going to go with is like whether they have a cool finisher or a shitty finisher.
Like the Fameasser, that's going to
Yes.
be bringing Billy Gunn. All right, and before we had our last guest drop out, we were going to do one more question, but we'll do it without him here still. So we're going to go, do you wipe standing up or sitting down? So I'll go first on this one. And I definitely wipe my ass when I'm sitting down. How about you, Garrett?
Yep. Butt cheeks on the toilet and then you wipe. Yes. No standing, no like leaning or anything like that. You just wipe.
John, what do you got?
I'm a sitting down guy.
Mark?
Sitting down.
Yep, I'm sitting down, balling up that toilet paper, not folding and wiping balls to back.
Damn, dude, that is actually kind of weird. So you got in deeper than I even thought you were gonna. So you just bunch it up and stick it in your butthole.
Bunch it up and stick it in there.
It's impressive. You probably have a dirty butt sometimes if you poop in public.
Yeah, I feel like the balling it up is just like chaos all around for sure.
You know, you end up with an itchy butt sometimes. You just got to go back and rewipe.
Yeah. Yep.
Bring some wet wipes to work.
Yep.
Mike, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm sitting too. I don't think I've heard one story about people standing up to wipe ass.
And that was our guest who canceled on us. All right, I'm gonna steal the screen here and we are gonna get into this wrestling bracket. I'm gonna start with Garrett on this first matchup. So we have Hulk Hogan versus Val Venus. Are you guys seeing the okay? Yep, got it. Seeing the
All
right
right,
screen?
Pat. So we also have our bracket categories are the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and No Way Out. So pay-per-views from the WWE world.
We were pretty fucking clever about that shit.
Nice.
But yeah, we're gonna start in Royal Rumble. We're gonna move to SummerSlam, then we're gonna go to WrestleMania, and then we're gonna go to No Way Out in the first round. So first matchup we have, starting with Garrett, we have Hulk Hogan versus Val Venus, spelled like penis.
This one's an easy one for me. Hulk Hogan, the iconic leg drop. I mean, it's got to be top 5 WrestleMania match with him and The Rock when he was an NWO. This is probably back maybe early 2000s. Val Venus still good. The towel, the intro, pulling it off and doing the shake. That's good, but Hulk Hogan takes this one.
All right, John, where are you going?
Hulk Hogan's a legend, one of the greatest to ever do it, but I think I might need to go with just my personal bias. Got to go with Val Venus. I believe there was a storyline where he had his penis chopped off.
Almost. Yeah.
So anybody that has that type of dedication to the craft, I'm throwing my vote for Val Venus.
Anytime John can flip on the TV and get a boner from watching a guy walk into a ring, he's gonna give him that vote. All right, Mark, where are you going with this one?
I forgot about the bit of Val getting his dick almost chopped off. So, I mean, it's tough, but I mean, Hulk's an all-timer. He's a legend, so we got to go Hulk. But Val definitely held his own, knew his role, and was a great player in the Attitude Era.
So 2-1 Hulk Hogan. Mike, I'm going to let you be the deciding pick here, or maybe the deciding pick. What do you got?
Yeah, so I'm going to be the deciding pick, and we're going to push it over the top with Hulk Hogan. I think Val Venus had his moment, right? He was okay. He was never but you can't go up against Hulk Hogan and really beat him in the first round. It's not possible.
Yeah, no, he was moving on for sure, but I'm moving him on because he's a real American, and I like his entry music. I am a real American. I was playing that to get pumped up for this. So Hulk Hogan moves on. Next matchup we have, we're going to start with John on this one. We have Brock Lesnar versus Gold Dust. What do you got?
So two guys, one you love to hate, one you hate to love. My guy, Gold Dust. I just always thought there was something sexy about him. Didn't know what it was back in the day, but we know now. Gold Dust, part of the legendary Rhodes family. I'm giving my vote to Gold Dust.
All right, Mark. I think we already know where you're going, but
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. This is a big bias for me. Gold Dust, Shattered Dreams. Let's shatter some of Brock's dreams.
all right, Mike.
All right, so this might be like our first kind of clean sweep here because I'm going to go with Goldust as well. I think Brock Lesnar has like his place there and he was awesome. But like I said, I'm going to go with the guy from the Attitude Era almost 100% of the time. And that's the way
Yeah.
it goes.
All right,
And he
Gary,
was
you got it.
like he was great. Like he was a guy that like just creeped you out just enough, and that's kind of what make him a perfect character.
Gary, you got anything to say about this matchup?
Yeah, I'm a little sad because I'm a huge Brock Lesnar guy. I was going to pick him. He is the one in 21-1. He was the one who broke the streak for the WrestleMania and Undertaker winning streak. And I mean, he's the one who draws crowds and he's he's babyface now, but I mean, as a heel with Paul Heyman, there was nothing better than watching Brock Lesnar just take people to Suplex City. So I was going to choose Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I definitely fucked that one up by the order that we went in because I was going to go with Brock Lesnar as well. I don't know. Gold Dust like weirds me out to a point. Like I think
That's what
I'm
makes
about
him
him.
great though.
He had a great intro too, all the sparkles, and that was
Yeah,
good.
and he had the robe and the wig. And
Yeah,
he didn't like feel himself up.
yeah, he did. It was,
yeah, man, that shit didn't appeal to me back then. Maybe if I like went back and watched it, like I'd be cool with it. But I hated Gold Dust. I thought he was like the worst.
But like that's part of what makes him good. That's like why he's a good character.
yeah, even his storyline. I think he had a tag team storyline with Booker T at one point. That was pretty good.
Okay, I vaguely remember that. All right, we're gonna roll on to the next one, and we have Sting versus Vader. Dude, Mark, lead it off.
What's our matchups here, Pat?
Yeah, this is I like our 512s as we keep going on throughout the bracket. This is a good one to start off with. Sting though with the paint, the face, he's iconic. The baseball bat just in the corner. Sting's a classic right here. Do want to give a shout out to Big Van Vader for being the dad of the bully. Gosh, in Boy Meets World. I can't think of his name right now.
Sean?
Frankie Stechino. Frankie Stechino's dad in Boy Meets World was Big Van Vader. So shouts to that, but we're gonna go Sting here.
All right, Mike, I think we got.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Sting as well. Probably my favorite character in the WCW like realm. So when WCW was running pretty hot, Sting was pretty easily my favorite character.
All right, I'm gonna flip to John quick.
So I was never a big WCW guy. Wasn't in it. Sting looks cool, but Vader, I mean, he's got the big body, had the mask and stuff. He's taking it down. He's got my vote.
All right, so we do got some juice here. Garrett, what do you got there?
Oh shoot, I gotta go with Sting. The bat and him, like when the camera pans to him in the rafters. Like, I mean, that's chills as a kid, and even like when he did have his stint in the WWE like a couple years ago. But I mean, yeah, you gotta go with Sting.
Sting moves through. Yeah, I think another bias I didn't put out there is if you were in the movie Ready to Rumble, I'm voting for you as well. I don't know. Does that movie hold up? Are you guys familiar?
I don't even know if I know what that is.
It was good. I thought as a kid,
Yeah.
I thought it was real good. Nobody knows that one. Got
I'm
a
gonna
lot
try
of
to find
glare
it now,
coming off
though.
that dome of your squirrel nuts. No.
Okay.
Who's like the main actors in it?
So it was Doofy from Scary Movie.
Scary movie.
Or
Okay.
was
Arnett?
one of them.
Will Arnett?
Oh,
No, not Will Arnett. And so it was like two dudes. Like
Doofy was played by David Arquette.
Okay, Arquette. So I think that was him. And then it was just like two guys who loved wrestling a lot. And then it was the running back in high school football movie. I don't
Booby
know.
Miles?
No, not Booby Miles.
Remember the Titans?
Not Remember the Titans. The one that was like a high school drama.
Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues. Like he's a handsome blonde haired dude. Maybe he was a receiver in it.
Oh,
You would know him if
Okay,
you saw him.
yeah.
Scott Kahn.
Yeah, he's in like the Hawaii 5-0 shit. But anyways, great movie. Go out and watch it. Sting moves on. All right, Mike, I'm letting you lead off one here. So we have our 4 versus 13 seed, and we have Goldberg versus Bubba Ray Dudley.
All right, so I like both those guys. I feel like the Dudley brothers kind of started Bill's Mafia with the putting people through tables, but I think for me it's got to be Goldberg.
All right, I'm gonna counteract you real quick because I love the Dudley brothers. I'm going Bubba Dudley. And then we're going to Garrett. Back to Garrett.
I'm taking Bubba Ray Dudley. I was never a big fan of Goldberg, and the storylines around Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon, they were really good back in the Attitude Era. And I know Goldberg. I know a lot of people didn't like to work with him. He wasn't very good, and his streak was meh to me. So I'm taking Bubba Ray.
Fuck that guy. John, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with Goldberg. He has his thing, did his thing. Bubba Ray, shouts out to him. The Dudleys had some great things, but I'm giving my vote to Goldberg.
All right, we got 2-2, Mark. You get to be the decider in this one. Who you got?
That's the upset alert. We're going Bubba Ray Dudley here.
Ooh,
Never liked Goldberg. Had the same get up and kind of look as Stone Cold, with the black undies, bald head. Just never really liked him. Plus WCW guy. And Bubba Ray, as Garrett mentioned, powerbombing Mae Young off the stage when she was like 80 years old. It's iconic stuff. So Bubba Ray.
I love it. That one's one that I was hoping to move through. Do you think, though, I'm going to ask Garrett. I'll ask Garrett directly, but anybody can answer as well. It like wrestlers. So you said that people didn't like working with Goldberg because he sucked. Do you think that's why his like special move was a spear? Because like you couldn't get creative with him? Do you think that's how they roll in the wrestling world? Because it's such a shitty, like I can spear somebody.
Right. I don't know how that works. Probably not. I just think like his mechanics sucked. I think he like ended Bret Hart's career too. Like, hurt his neck, and Bret Hart never wrestled after like his last match with him. I know Bret Hart still is salty. He holds a grudge against Goldberg and will bring it up during interviews all the time.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. We're learning new things. All right, we are going to go back to the beginning. And Garrett, you are going to be leading this one off. We have a 6-11 matchup up in the Royal Rumble region. And we have Kurt Angle as the 6th seed versus Paul Heyman as the 11th seed. Who do you got?
Oh, man, this one's tough. I liked both. Kurt Angle's feud with John Cena in the PG era was still good. Oh, man. But I got to go with Paul Heyman just because his mic skills are top notch, right up there. Not quite with The Rock, can't pull a promo, but he was, Brock Lesnar's whole shtick and pretty big in the bloodline storyline right now with Roman Reigns. So I got to go Paul Heyman.
Oh, so this is an active guy. All right, John, who do you got?
So, as much as I like Kurt Angle, love the ankle lock. One of my favorite moves to give people in real life. But I'm giving my thing to Paul Heyman as well. My vote. He's just great with the mic, blessed with it, and just one of the best trolls out there.
All right, Mark.
I'm gonna go Kurt Angle on this one, not just to even out our matchup, but he's a true Olympic champion. Got to respect that. The Angle music when he was a heel and everyone being able to yell "You suck" with the intro music was pretty iconic. So I'm gonna go with Kurt Angle.
All right, Mike, what do you got there?
So I'm going with Kurt Angle too. One of my favorites when he first came on the scene is as the Olympic champion. So
All right. So since I don't know who Paul Heyman is, I would probably vote for Kurt Angle, but I feel like that is unfair to these guys. So we're bringing it out. We're going to do the best of three. Can you guys see it?
yep.
The coin. Does anybody have a coin that they want flipped, or the presidential coin? Will this do?
We can do the George W. first president for the first one.
All right, Garrett, you call it. What do you want Paul Heyman to have?
Have Paul Heyman be heads because their hair is kind of similar.
Okay, I like it. Now it's not going to flip. Oh, I had to hit flip coin. All right, we got our first one coming up. We got heads. That is one Paul Heyman. We might not be doing this again.
We're battling back. We're gonna make it back to this. No worries. There it goes.
All right, Paul Heyman moves on. Two heads in a row. All right.
You got the slider at 100% heads. Of course, that was going to happen.
Did I?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. I was like, oh, I missed something on this website. All right. Next matchup we have. John, lead us off here. So we have the 3 versus 14 seed in Bret Hart versus Rikishi.
Rikishi was a great guy growing up, one of my favorites, had the stink face. Obviously, he's part of a longtime bloodline, one of the greatest bloodlines out there, but got to go with Bret Hart, Bret the Hitman. Rikishi's just doesn't have enough. Can't stand up to it.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with John. Hart also comes from a great classical bloodline there. I will give a shout out to Rikishi when he was with Too Cool with was it Scotty Too Hottie and Too Sexy Brian Christopherson, whatever.
Something like that.
They'd break down the music at the end and you'd put the shades on and do the dance. That was great. But I'm going to go Bret Hart.
All right, 2-0 Bret Hart. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah. So I'm going Bret Hart as well. No, what am I saying? I'm getting lost here. I dislike Bret Hart quite a bit. Right? So like he was always the heel, and I fell into that. Like I liked the baby faces, did not like the heels. Bret Hart was the heel when I was watching. Did not prefer him. I can take Rikishi here just to keep it alive.
All right, Garrett, are you going to end it? You're going to keep her alive?
Nope, it's done. Bret Hart Foundation, iconic match against Stone Cold. And that move was so fun to do to your friends and your siblings. Like, who didn't like putting people in the sharpshooter? So Bret Hart.
All right, Hart it is, and Hart moves on. All right, Mark, we're going to start with you even if we just did. So next one we have is Randy Orton versus AJ Styles, 7 versus 10 seed there.
This one I'll make it quick. Randy Orton for me. Just the RKO coming out of nowhere. Hearing Jim Ross go, RKO, RKO. It's just good stuff. So I got to go Randy Orton.
At the end of the show, we got to make you do the Jim Ross retirement speech when he cries. All right, we'll shoot it up to Mike there.
All right, I'm going to go Randy Orton as well.
All
Make it
right,
quick. I mean, not like I don't have a really good reason.
Garrett, what do you got?
This one's easy by a landslide. Randy Orton, the RKO. AJ Styles is fine. He was better in like when he was in for Japan. So Randy Orton.
All right, John, is this gonna be a clean sweep?
The Vipers got it. AJ Styles, not my favorite. Randy Orton's not my favorite either, but the RKO, just especially with this resurgence in the meme era, had some great stuff. So yeah, it's Randy Orton.
RKO'd him. All right, now we are to our 2 versus 15 seed. We have a Rock versus Matt Hardy. Mike, start us out.
So I'd like to give Matt Hardy, like, the Hardy Boys were my tag team guys. I like Jeff Hardy a ton, but you can't go against The Rock. Has to be The Rock.
Garrett.
Yep, easy. The Rock, best on the mic, Attitude Era. You know, so many feuds. The Rock.
John.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go The Rock. Matt Hardy was great. His new resurgence was good as well. Very weird, liked it, but I was raised by the Brahma Bull. Rock.
Mark, you gonna?
No, The Rock. That's all I need.
Right. And The Rock it is. All right, now we are moving into the SummerSlam region of the bracket. And we're gonna restart it with Garrett again. So right off the bat, actually, no, I'm gonna start this one. I'm gonna pump one of my boys, one of the few wrestlers I know. So we have Ric Flair versus Rey Mysterio. And I guess hearing, the big woo and things like that, and hearing that Ric Flair was the best in the ring, I don't know. I love Rey Mysterio. So I'm going to give our 16 seed his first point just because he would jump off really tall things and do cool stuff. That's all I got. And wear a cool mask. So I like that shit. He got me. Garrett, what do you got?
I'm going Ric Flair. I mean, the shit he did back like off script. I mean, that's some of the wildest stories I've heard. It's on his documentary. I can't remember what it's on, but I mean, just him off stage was great. He lived his persona. Ric Flair was wild and profiling, so I'm choosing Ric Flair. Sorry,
Yes.
619.
Some of these guys is crazy that they're like so jacked, and then you hear stories that they just drink all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess steroids are a hell of a drug. All right,
You gotta
John, what
get
do
your
you got?
calories in somehow, man.
I guess so.
I mean, 619 was dope move, Rey Mysterio high flying, but he ain't Cadillac driving. So I gotta give the vote to Ric Flair.
All right, Mark, you can end it now.
Yeah, we're ending it now. Garrett said it perfect. Ric Flair was Ric Flair inside and outside the ring. Just some of the crazy shit that he would do. I think of the one where he's like in his suit, strips down to his boxers and like is bouncing off the ropes and then just elbowing nothing in the middle of the ring. Guy was just a loose cannon. Gotta go Ric Flair.
All right, Mike.
I think that Rey Mysterio got fucked on his seed here, but I think that he could win a couple games in this bracket if he's someplace else. But Ric Flair is a legend. You got to give it to him.
All right, yeah, I just want to give him a point. All right, we're gonna start with Garrett on this one because I know one of his boys is in here. I got seen a whole section at Miller Park saying yes because of this guy and Garrett. So we have the 8 versus 9. We have Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. And who you got, Garrett?
This is a good matchup because I really do enjoy Roman Reigns' heel run right now in the Bloodline. But the Yes movement in like 2015, that was one of my favorite, movements outside of the Attitude Era. I even had his shirt, I had like the long beard, the long hair like him. I should have mentioned that in my biases when we first started because like it was very fun watching in that, and even watching him win the title against Bautista and Randy Orton in WrestleMania was great. So Daniel Bryan.
Where would you rank the moment where you got a section of Miller Park saying yes? In
That
your
one was
life
that
or
one was
television?
really good. I mean, he was that big that everyone probably knew what it was, or they just probably thought I looked stupid and they were like, okay, let's do what this guy's doing.
No, I like it. All
So
right,
yes,
so
that was a great moment.
I loved it. All right, John, what do you got?
So liked Roman Reigns, didn't like Roman Reigns, liked him again, didn't like him again, but just for the fact, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, like the name switch up, we're going Daniel Bryan.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Both these guys are post my viewing era. Just to keep it spicy and let other guys talk, I'll go with Roman Reigns.
All right, Mike, you got anything to talk about there?
So I don't have much to talk about. I hear about Roman Reigns on the McAfee show all the time. I do think that Daniel Bryan like had a moment where he like surpassed wrestling culture, right? So that like he was outside of the wrestling culture. He was in pop culture because of the yes thing. But I'm going to go with Roman Reigns to put it on Pat.
All right, I don't like that because I don't got much good to say other than my whole vote's coming on Garrett making a whole section of Miller Park say yes. So
All right.
I'm going with Daniel Bryan. Garrett won me over on that one. Good times. All right, now we have a 5-12 seed. John's leading us off. We have the Sheik versus Chris Benoit. What do you got, John?
Iron Sheik, iconic guy, great on Twitter as well. You know, still relevant nowadays. But I mean, just giving your family the crippler cross face, I can't get like that's so great.
God
Chris
damn.
Benoit has got my vote. You finish your family with your move, like, come on.
That's brutal. But Mark, who do you got?
I mean, that's a perfect summary. The Sheik does live on in the Twitterverse. He's very hysterical. Give him a follow if you don't. But the Benoit stuff, and as long as we can keep him going in this bracket, I think it's great. So let's go Benoit.
All right, Mike, what do you got? He's a family guy, so I assume Mike's not.
Yeah, so I'm not too fond of like the way they portray Benoit in the media because I think steroids are good and they blamed it all on the steroids when I think that he's just a crazy person. So I'll just go with the Iron Sheik due to the fact that Benoit gave steroids a bad name. And
All right, Garrett, what do you got on this one?
I'm going with the CTE and I'm going with Chris Benoit. I mean, the flying headbutt, like that was one of his finishers. Yeah, we'll go with Chris Benoit.
All right, so Chris Benoit, the 12 seed, is moving on. The funniest joke I've ever heard about the Chris Benoit thing, like they're keeping it light. Do you guys remember the Flavor Flav roast when I can't remember who did it, but whoever went up there, I think it was like Amy Schumer or something, and then it said Chris Benoit is a better father than you, and it was like fresh.
Right after.
Yeah.
That was brutal. That was such a good joke.
Okay.
If anybody
All right.
wants to do a deep dive, there's some really interesting conspiracy shit regarding the Chris Benoit stuff. I'll just leave it at that, but you guys should go take a look at it.
But so with what John was saying, is it confirmed he was doing wrestling moves on his kids?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. Like, I just like to say that.
Okay.
I have a sick mind.
I mean, you had me going. I definitely thought there was some
It's not also not confirmed that he wasn't.
All right, let's move on here. All right, so we have a 4 seed in Triple H, and then we have a 13 seed in Devon Dudley, and we are leading off with Mark in this one.
Triple H is iconic all through that Attitude Era, one of the top dogs. Pedigree is a great move. Degeneration X. Devon Dudley, the Dudley boys, we already have Bubba Ray moving through. I think it's going to be tough to put them both through, so let's go Triple H.
All right, Mike,
So I'm going with Triple H. I enjoyed the sledgehammer at the end of his Attitude Era reign. Maybe that lasted way longer than I expect because he wrestled for another like 15 years after the Attitude Era, right?
Garrett, you can confirm or deny that.
Yeah, I think his like last match was 2 years ago or something like that. He got really injured, like almost died or something. Like he was not good, but yeah, he wrestled a couple years ago.
And who are you picking?
I'm taking Triple H, the best heel. He's probably the number one heel ever in WWE history. And plus, he had that iconic water spit when he gets onto the ropes. I mean, what a great. Oh, and on top of all that, he always had the best intro songs by far. He
Well, when
always
you
did.
marry the boss's daughter, you get all that shit like
Right,
handed to you,
yeah.
I'm sure.
I mean, even like his WrestleMania entrances, I think there was one back in, late 2010s where he comes out with like this big chainmail and like big Viking helmet. It was pretty sweet.
John, what do you got?
Yeah, like I said, love the Dudley Boys, but it's Triple H.
All right. Triple H gets the clean sweep in this one. Moving on to the next one, we're going to kick it back to Garrett to lead it off. We have Chris Jericho versus the Big Show. Chris Jericho is the 6th seed. Big Show's 11th seed. What do you got?
Chris Jericho was a good heel. I didn't care for him then, but then he started growing on me later in his career. And one of my favorite segments ever, and it was in the newer era, is the list. You made the list. You made the list. If he didn't like you, you made the list. And he always carried around a clipboard. It was great. It was fun and it was funny. So Chris Jericho.
All right, John.
So I'm gonna go. I mean, these two, it's a great matchup right here. Hard to go wrong with who you pick. Again, kind of mimicking Garrett, didn't like Chris Jericho back then. Walls of Jericho was always top time move to do on your little brother. But I'm gonna go with the Big Show. Love the big guy, choke slam, one of my favorite moves. So Big Show's got it.
All right, 1-1. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I think this is a great matchup. For a guy that loves a wrestler just in his undies, the Big Show always had like these oddly oversized undies that were just kind of goofy. But I just think the build up for when Jericho came over from WCW and they had that countdown clock of Y2J. Everyone kind of had the idea of what it was going to be, but this is, pre-internet, so couldn't like see any true spoilers. But when they just popped that clock up and then when it finally ran out and he was introduced was something I always remember from that Attitude Era. So I'm going Jericho.
All right. I am going to go with the Big Show in this one just because he was a beast. Mike,
See,
clean
Pat
us
just
up.
jumps in there, snakes it so that I have to make the decision here.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
I like,
what I did.
So I think I like both of them. I think I was fine with both of them, right? But I was more of a Big Show guy. I'm gonna take the Big Show here.
All right, the Big Show moves through. Mike made the big critical decision. And that's another upset. So 11 seed moves on in this one. So this is a battle of two guys. I don't know how we didn't catch this, but I mean, they're big names. So anyways, 3 versus 14. We have Andre the Giant. Oh, damn. We could have an Andre the Giant Big Show matchup. Andre the Giant, the 3 seed versus the Ultimate Warrior as the 14 seed. And Mark, lead us off. You got any insight on this shit?
Not really any insight, but just the legend of Andre the Giant and like him drinking a barrel of beer. Like they'd say that he would go down to the bar and drink like 120 beers and like just pass out and like security couldn't lift him out. So he'd just lay there till the morning. If you ever Google Andre the Giant holding a can of beer, that's just an iconic photograph. The man was larger than life. We're going Andre the Giant.
All right. Mike, who do you got there?
So I think I'm gonna go with I really like the Ultimate Warrior. I like the idea of like that, but both these guys are kind of before my time. And Andre the Giant played in The Princess Bride, which is a classic movie, so I'm going to go with Andre the Giant.
All right, John, what do you got?
So yeah, I love both of them. A little bit before my time as well, but Princess Bride, Andre the Giant, gotta love that. I know I watched. You haven't watched Dark Side of the Ring? They had a great Ultimate Warrior one. He was amazing. Did a lot for the sport, but Andre's got my vote. Just that beer can.
So Andre's moving on, but Garrett, what do you got on this situation?
It would have been a clean one. I would have taken Andre the Giant. I did like, the Warriors' enthusiasm when he's running down the aisle and for every match, but I have to piggyback the beer cans and all the beer that he drank. I mean, you can't go wrong with Andre the Giant and beer. So
Yeah, Mark talked me into it right off the jump, but then I
Yeah.
found a picture of him choking out Bob Euchre, and that sold it even harder. So Andre the
Okay.
Giant is moving on in this one. So we got a big boy matchup in the next round. So Andre the
I
Giant
love them
moves
big
on.
boys.
Hell yeah. All right. Now we have the 7 versus 10 seed in the SummerSlam section. Ted DiBiase versus Jerry the King Lawler. And Garrett, get back to leading off. You're the best at leadoff hitting.
you got to go with the King. I mean, he was so good. I mean, him and JR on the mic, nothing better as a kid waiting for Monday Night Raw to start just to hear those two voices. And him being such a creep with all the women's superstars too, like with Trish Stratus and Stacy Keibler was in her legs. God, man, he was good on the mics. And Ted DiBiase was a little bit before my time, so I'm going with the King.
It was college football guy, Ohio State quarterback, his predecessor, Kirk Herbstreit, when he found Brady Quinn's sister in the crowd. It was like, whoo! Damn, he's got it going on. I mean, he's like a dog in one of the cartoons with his leg going like, oh god.
Okay.
All right, Mark, who do you got in this one?
This one's easy for me, not just because of the time, but it's the King for sure. Just going off of what Garrett said, they used to do these evening lingerie matches or
evening gown match.
Evening gown matches, but then they do this lingerie thing where all the divas would get in the ring and they'd just be
The
in
pillow fights.
skimpy ass bathing suits, and the King would get to go up there and judge them. And you call the tits puppies, which I always thought was great. And then all the chicks were in the stuff. And then I remember Sable took hers off and she just had the hands painted on her boobs, and the King about had a coronary in the ring freaking out.
Yes.
It's shit that could not fly anymore, but the King just, yeah.
King takes
Jerry
it.
King Lawler.
All right, John, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I mean, Ted DiBiase was great. Did a lot for the business. Very flashy. People loved him, but I have very fond memories of Jerry the King Lawler. Used to rent old wrestling DVD or VHS. And I remember
you would rent the ones Mark was talking about, and then you'd kick your brothers out of the room.
So the ones I was renting, he had an army of little people, midgets you called them back then, but they would wrestle. And it was wild. It was a little person. I forget the other people that he would have, but he had little minions that would wrestle, and so you got to go with the King.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
Yeah,
on this one?
Ted DiBiase, I think, was probably a perfect heel when he was wrestling, but he's a little bit before my time. And so, for the most part, the King was on the mic the entire time when I was watching. But like these guys all said, he had just some iconic moments. Probably
All right.
reasons that I was watching wrestling at the time.
Clean sweep for the 10 seed in this one. I'm gonna go with the same thing. I don't know who Ted DiBiase really is. I just Googled him. Still don't know who he is. And Jerry the King is moving on. So we're gonna start this one with Mark. And we have the 2 versus 15 seed. John Cena versus Christian. Mark, who do you got?
I feel like this is a tough draw for Christian, just with how iconic Cena's been. When Christian was introduced in the faction, the Brood, with Edge and Gangrel, they had this kind of vampire theme to them. It was always really cool. But for me, Cena's just too iconic. And just to make this one a little bit more lighthearted, he's a great guy outside the ring and does a lot of Make-A-Wish stuff and great for the fans. So I'm going to go with Cena.
All right, Mike, who do you got on this one?
So I'm going to go with Cena here as well. Just kind of transcends wrestling, which you have to be like really, really great in the ring and like on the mic and everything in order to do that. I think he's done that pretty well. I have recently started watching, Peacemaker, which is slightly amusing too. So
Don, what do you got? Your screen went blank, but
Is
are you
my
still there?
camera working?
No.
You can't see me,
Oh.
so you gotta give it.
And then you
Gotta
muted
give it to
himself.
John Cena. Mad respect for Christian. I know he's got big resurgence, but John Cena, you just gotta go with that.
And John Cena moves on. You can't
can't-
see him. You'll see him in the second round, though.
You can't forget John Cena's Thugonomics era
Yes.
with the big chain that he always wore. I mean, his promos were him rapping, like he would freestyle. That it was great times.
He'll rap for a cigarette. All right. So we are moving to WrestleMania. And the first matchup we have, I'm gonna let Mike lead this one off. So we have Stone Cold versus Spike Dudley, the 1 versus the 16. Who do you got?
yeah,
Mike?
so this is my guy. This Stone Cold's the guy from the Attitude Era. He ran the whole show. If he doesn't make it to the finals, I'm going to be absolutely stunned. I'm going with Stone Cold.
All right. Yeah, I'll go next here. I did love me some Spike Dudley. I don't know why. I think I liked anything that the Dudley brothers did. But yeah, it's got to be Stone Cold. So Garrett, let us see it.
Last breaks, it's Stone Cold. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be easy marching him through for a while.
Yep, Stone Cold, definitely number one.
All right, Mark.
Anytime you see the name Spike Dudley, you know what's gonna happen. He's getting pulverized.
This one's easy. It's Stone Cold.
And John's going Stone Cold. We're not even gonna let him pick on this one. Next matchup we have the 8 versus the 9 seed in Edge versus Seth Rollins. Garrett, where are you going with this one?
Good job on this matchup because they just got done with their feud. And I think they're very similar wrestlers. Oh man. This one's tough. I mean, I liked, Edge's Attitude Era, made a really nice comeback a couple years ago, but I think I like Seth Rollins too much. He's good. I really enjoyed his time in the Shield, and then his heel turn, and then his time with Triple H as the champion. I'm going Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins gets one. Mark, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, unfortunately, Seth Rollins is probably a little after my time for me. So I only have Edge to go on for this one. I just remember Edge in the Attitude Era when he'd come out of the crowd, they'd play his music and it would kind of pan the camera all around searching for where he was going to walk out and hop over the railings. So I'm going to go Edge.
1-1. Mike, what do you got on this one?
So I'm going Edge as well. Seth Rollins is outside of my era just a bit, right? So kind of stopped like at the tail end of the Attitude Era, and Seth Rollins really was never kind of there. So
All right. I am going to go with Seth Rollins just to make it 2-2 and let John be the deal breaker in this one.
So I got mad respect for both guys. Loved me some Edge and Christian back in the day. The Concerto, one of my favorite things. Loved that tag team finisher. For me, couldn't get much better than that. Seth Rollins, great. Loved his technique. Loved the Shield. What they had going on was special. But I got to give it to Edge just gets the slightest edge
In this
in that one.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were going the whole time. I was kind of like going back and forth through the whole thing. Good job, John. That's a cleanup hitter for you if you have one. All right,
I was going to make you do the coin flip.
That would have been fun. We do have Sacagawea on deck, ready to get flipped. So she's that girl. All right, next matchup we have. We'll start with Mark in this one. So we have Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk. And what do you got?
Jeff Hardy, iconic Attitude Era guy, ladder matches, did have a resurgence. Garrett could correct me if I'm wrong. I think did he win a championship belt too, or was that Matt?
Nope, he did. He was
Okay.
world heavyweight champion for maybe 1 or 2 runs.
Yeah, so just kind of that whole arc for Jeff Hardy going from kind of jobber tag team, just wacky with Matt Hardy, to becoming a champion is just like a full ride. CM Punk, I remember just following a lot of the controversy that he had after he left WWE in some kind of uncertain terms, but again, didn't really get a chance to watch him, so I'm gonna go Jeff Hardy.
All right. We'll go John here. We'll go to John again.
So loved Jeff Hardy back in the day, the boys. And then CM Punk, he was great. Wasn't seen him as much, back in the day, but when he came out with one of the best at eating the moves that I have seen, and just great on the mic. So got to go CM Punk.
All right. I like it. Mike, where are you going with this one?
So Jeff Hardy's one of my favorites. Like I said earlier with the Hardy Boys, like that was the tag team I enjoyed the most. So I'm going with Jeff Hardy.
I did love that high flying tag team matchup, but I'm going to give CM Punk the edge in this one just because I know he trains for UFC in Milwaukee. And I'm going to let Garrett clean this one up as well.
Oh, this is a good one. CM Punk had a great run with Paul Heyman as well. I don't know if he still has a record for the longest reigning, or no, not the record, but and he held it for like over 400 days or something like that. Didn't really care for him as a wrestler though, and I really love the Swanton Bomb. That thing was like magnificent to see anytime in the TLC matches or anytime whenever. So I'm going Jeff Hardy.
All right. Jeff Hardy moves on. I wonder how bad that one really hurt. Like, it was weird to me, like how it seemed like he would get hurt more in that. But cool to watch anyways. All right. I think Road Dogg played a good schedule to get this 4 seed. But anyways, in the next matchup in the WrestleMania region, we have Road Dogg versus Paul Bearer. And we are going to start with Mike on this one.
So Paul Bearer, I guess the manager for Undertaker, just a classic. Road Dogg, piece of D-Generation X. Shoot, I can't remember exactly what the tag team was called with him and Badass Billy Gunn.
The New Age Outlaws.
New Age Out, like those guys. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to go with Road Dogg here. I think I would prefer Road Dogg over Paul Bearer, even though those guys are both iconic in that Attitude Era.
Mark, who you got on this one?
Yeah, this is a really tough matchup. Road Dog, the tag team iconic, coming down, spitting on the mic. But Paul Bear, just all-time weirdo with that high-pitched voice, managing both Undertaker and Kane. He'd be like, Kane, Taker, and just carrying around an urn of ashes. Just that whole storyline. And rest in peace to him. So we're gonna give it to the Paul Bear.
All right, I'll go next here. And just because of the suck it shit, Road Dog is getting it. And I didn't know who Paul Bearer was until Mark did the impression and then brought up a vivid memory to me. All right. I can't even remember who I let off with this one. Garrett?
Mike went first.
All
So
right,
it's
Garrett.
it's 2-1 Road Dog currently.
All right, so we'll go with Garrett in this one.
Hopefully John wasn't picking Paul Bearer because I'm going Road Dog. They were, him and Badass Billy Gunn were so fun to watch as tag teams. And plus, everyone knows like how the thing goes. 7-time champions of the world, Road Dog, Jesse James, and Badass Billy Gunn. And plus, he had that really cool punch move with the little shuffle. Or was that Dusty Rhodes? But
It was the Road Dog, shake, rattle, and roll.
yeah, see, yeah, just I mean, and it's Degeneration X. Who didn't like doing the suck it? So
Oh yeah, that wins it for me. All right, John, what do you got?
Yeah,
If
I
you-
mean, Paul Bearer was great on the mic, but so was Road Dog, and Road Dog was in that ring too. So the dog rolls.
All right, dog rolls on, and next matchup we have a 6-versus-11 in Booker T versus X-Pac. And I kind of messed up, so I'm gonna go first on this one because I like both these guys a lot from my little wrestling viewing. Because X-Pac and Degeneration X was great, and those are probably all my favorite guys, except for this guy. And I love Booker T. And can you dig it, sucker? So Booker T gets my vote there. All right, Garrett, what do you got?
oh, this one's tough too. I really enjoyed after Degeneration X, X-Pac teamed up with Kane for, I think they were tag team champions for a little bit. I really enjoyed those two together. But the gloves, like the football gloves and the spinneroonie and the hand, I gotta go Booker T.
Booker T takes a 2-0
Oh.
lead.
And plus, I mean, one of the most like iconic scenes, Booker T getting ambushed by Stone Cold in the grocery store. I mean, what a great
It was
thing
great.
to be part of. So I want Booker T.
All right, John, what do you got there?
So yeah, love Degeneration X, loved them, and I always, as a kid, I was like X-Pac, Degeneration X. It's great, but I mean Booker T. Gotta give him the vote. I just think
Okay.
lasted the longer. As much as I love people doing drugs and like drug doing, gotta give it to Booker T.
All right, Mark, what do you got in this one? Other
Uh,
than Booker T already made it through.
yeah, we got 3-0. I would have gone X-Pac. Again, more my era. Booker T would have came over to the WWF right towards my tail end. But yeah, DX X-Pac would have been my pick.
And then Mike would have been close.
Yeah. So it would have been pretty close. Like, I don't know who I pick on this one. I like them both. So I watched both WCW and WWF or WWE quite a bit, but I think I would, I don't know. Like, I feel like I would go with X-Pac. Like,
Yeah. So it's
kind of
close
on top,
game.
right?
Can I
Close game
throw
in that
something
6-11.
out just in case anybody wants to change their vote? He made a sex tape with China.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say that it's called One Night in China.
Yeah.
I'm watching it right now.
Okay.
John's phone's like just bumping up and down. All right. Next matchup. Well, It didn't change my mind. I'm sticking with Booker T. Is anybody change their mind on this?
No,
Do it.
Moved him through. All right. Mike, lead us off in this one and then pick through the people. I got to take my sweatshirt off quick. I'm getting hot in here. After the sex tape was brought up. So we have Vince McMahon versus Shane McMahon. And Mike, go lead this one.
All right, so we got father versus son here. I think that Vince has spent a lot more time in the ring, and like Shane was a big part of the Attitude Era, but like it's got to be Vince. He runs the whole show. Sounds like he ran the whole show for 40 years, and I'm always surprised that he's as jacked as he is, right? So I'm going to give it to Vince McMahon. Garrett, you're up next.
God, I'm sad that this is a matchup, but I mean, Shane McMahon had the coast to coast. That was a great move. And even his entrance music, the here comes the money, 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 money. I'm going Vince McMahon though. He was too good. Like, yeah, Vince McMahon. Yep. His feud with Stone Cold was great. So Vince McMahon.
Yeah, great feud with Stone Cold. All right, Mark, who do you got on this one?
I got Vince. When the No Chance music plays and he's just strutting down to that ring, you know that the boss means business. Going back to the Stone Cold feud, when Stone Cold dressed up as a doctor, when Vince was in the hospital and beat the shit out of him with a bedpan, is just classic Attitude Era.
Yes.
All right, John, who you got?
yeah, I mean, I can't agree more with what Garrett and Mark said. Shane was great, did his own thing, but I mean, you can't beat Vince, what he was doing with it.
Yeah, I think that he had the Connor strut even before McGregor, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the same walk.
Mhm.
I
Stole
think
it from
so.
Vince McMahon. Pat, who are you going to go with there?
Yeah, clean sweep for Vince in this one. I don't know about loving the boss's son so much, entitled bitch. So we're going Vince McMahon. But I don't remember Shane McMahon ever doing anything. Like, he jumped off a bunch of cool shit. So I
was
guess
gonna
that
say,
was cool.
He
But
threw himself off. What was the big thing? The Hell in the Cell? Is that what it was or whatever? But
The big
yeah, I
elbow-
remember
he
that
would do
being
the elbow
crazy.
drop. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
didn't he
elbow
elbow
drop.
drop somebody through like the Spanish announce table off the Hell in the Cell?
Yep.
I just remember it being really high up, and I was like, "Yo,
He even did it off the Megatron too, like the entrance rafters. Yeah, he even did a elbow drop off of there too.
So he was a high flyer for a big dude. All right, Mike, do you want me to take this back? Or you?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Next matchup we have is Roddy Piper versus Kane. And Garrett, lead us off on this one.
Hot take coming in. I was always a Kane guy over The Undertaker. I really liked Kane a lot. I already mentioned his tag team with X-Pac. He also had one with my boy Daniel Bryan. They were called Team Hell No. So that was entertaining for that time. But I also just liked Kane as a solo wrestler too. He was good. I liked him, Kane.
All right, I'm gonna go on this one. So I think my hot take in wrestling would be I didn't like Kane or The Undertaker. I thought they were both boring as shit because did they both not talk for like the longest time or something like that? I remember we found out they were
Kane, it was
brothers.
like a year or two.
Garrett, what do you got on this
Well,
situation?
Kane, he had the mask. He didn't remove his mask. Like you didn't see his face until like mid 2000s, maybe.
And then when he
But I don't think Undertaker talked much on the mic until he was his American Badass gimmick.
American Badass." Yeah, they were
Okay.
both pretty quiet on the mic.
Yeah, okay, so that changed my opinion on him a little bit. So I'm gonna go with Roddy Piper just because I like his name and he had big muscles. All right, next we're gonna go with We're gonna go with Mark here.
Again, a guy that's a little before my time with Roddy Piper. I do believe a lot of kind of our generation before us really respected Piper a lot. But I got to go with Kane on this one. Just the mystery of what was behind that mask when he was introduced, the gimmick where him and Undertaker were brothers, and like something with him taking the toy. So then the Undertaker like burned down the house and the parents died. And that's how Kane got his burns. Is just, again, all time Attitude Era, like how they came up with some of this shit. I don't know.
Game of Thrones stole that shit too.
Yeah. With the mountain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta go Kane.
All right, we got 2-1 in favor of Kane. We're gonna kick it to Mike.
So I'm gonna go with Kane as well. I enjoyed the gimmick of them being brothers, like that he was the reason he wore the mask and the whole suit is because he was completely burned up, right? And that Paul Bearer had hid this kid for like 20 years and then brought him out. I liked the whole idea of it, right? And then I liked the the idea that he burned his brother to the ground over a toy. But I also liked it wasn't Hell in a Cell matches, right? It was where they had all the flames on the sides. I can't remember what they called those.
Inferno matches.
Yeah, Inferno matches. I thought those were kind of cool too. So I'm gonna go with Kane.
All right, John, would you have made it close, or what do you got on?
No, I was going with Kane. Like everybody said, one of the, his story was great, and he was also one of the greatest commissioners of Raw of all time. Just a lot of great things. I loved Kane with the mask, but mask off was great as well. So
I'm impressed with your guys' like perspective on the situation at like the age. Like, it's super funny hearing about the burning down the house and like the toy for the toy now. But like when I was a kid watching this shit, I was like, what a douchebag. Like, just give him a toy or something. Like, or who cares about that? What do you think the toy was, Mark?
I don't know.
It was a cardboard box.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Kids fight over everything.
It was a fire truck. All right. So next matchup we got. I'm gonna leave this one off just because I don't know who the Godfather is, and Shawn Michaels is my boy. So we have the 2 seed in Shawn Michaels versus the 15 seed, the Godfather. And I loved Shawn Michaels for some reason. And I know he was another sexy dude, and I shit on Val Venus for being a sexy dude like that. But like, I liked Shawn Michaels' music. You play that, you kind of feel good about yourself. Like, I know you think I'm sexy, or I don't even know how the song goes, but I was down with Shawn Michaels. He might be making a big run for me here. So I'm gonna kick it over to Mike.
Yeah, so I'm a Shawn Michaels guy as well. Gonna take him and move forward.
All right, Garrett.
Sweet chin music, great move.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
There was one time where he was walking down to the ring, and some fan threw some sort of liquid at him, and he made the hair flick so cool, just to like someone pouring beer on him, and he just is chewing his gum with the belt on his arm and flicks his hair like nothing happened. Shawn Michaels.
All right. Mark.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Shawn Michaels here too. Just an iconic guy of the Attitude Era. Started DX with Triple H, but the Godfather, the gimmick of bringing out the hose and offering them to the hoe train and offering the hose to his opponent instead of actually having to wrestle was just great. I think Val Venus, mentioned earlier, was maybe one of the only ones to ever actually accept the hose. And then they would just the match would just be done and they wouldn't even wrestle. They'd just go backstage with the hose. So really great gimmick to the Godfather, but Shawn Michaels is all time.
God, hearing this shit is just so fucking stupid that people thought this was real for so long. But John, you got any more input on this?
Nothing to add. Mark covered everything greatly.
All right,
It's
so
BK.
we're gonna lead off with John on this one. So it's a 1 versus 16. We're in the no way out area of the bracket, and we have the Undertaker versus Rod Van Dam. in
Ooh,
this
so
one.
I was a big Rob Van Dam guy. Went to the lacrosse center, bought the gloves that said RVD, the big gloves. But I mean, even with those big gloves, can't hit the Undertaker.
Did you wear those gloves with your knockoff Ed Hardy shirts from China?
I still wear them today.
Nice. All right, Garrett, what do you got?
Thinking about Rob Van Dam with this frog splash, I'm kind of sad that D'Lo Brown isn't on here. So I was gonna say, I mean, frog splash is such a great move, but D'Lo Brown had the best one. D'Lo Brown had the best frog splash. Rob Van Dam, huge advocate for weed, kind of dig that. But the Undertaker, he was great.
The last ride. All right, Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't think you can really challenge the Undertaker. All-time great.
Mark.
Yeah, the Undertaker, the Tombstone Pile Driver, and then the Rest in Peace pin finisher is great. The choke slam, Undertaker.
Yeah, and I think I messed up putting Rob Van Dam here because I remember I liked him. Didn't he do something like pointing at his back? John,
Yeah,
were
that's what I
you
was saying.
doing that? Yeah.
RV.
But anyways, Undertaker moves
Yeah.
on. And yeah, I think he could have fit in here. So who's the historian here? So we're gonna go with Garrett on this one. So we have an 8 versus 9 matchup. We have Scott Hall versus Lex Luger. And who do you got in this one? And yeah, we put 2 old guys next to each other.
Yeah, I
think
don't
they're-
even know if I really know. I know what Lex Luger looks like, but I couldn't even tell you like a match he wrestled in. I didn't watch too much of WCW.
He was,
But
I
I would
think,
have
the
to go-
narcissist in WWF, like in the 80s, too.
Yeah, see, I gotta go with Scott Hall. He had the toothpick and it looked cool, and then the one strand of hair, it was wet and dripping. So I gotta go with Scott Hall.
All right, Mike, who do you got in this one?
So I'm gonna be the contrarian here, and I'm gonna take Lex Luger. He had his finisher, I believe, was like a torture rack, right? And he did like hold you on top of his
Oh, yep.
shoulders or something like that, and that was a good one to do to people that were significantly smaller than you.
I like it. John, where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving it up to Scott Hall, Lex Luger. Great name out there. Got props for him, but got to give it to Scott Hall, RIP.
All right, so it's 2-1 Scott Hall right now. I'm gonna go with Lex Luger after watching Mark put his dog in a torture rack, and I'm gonna make Mark be the deciding factor in this one. So it's 2-2, 8 versus 9, tight matchup. Scott Hall, Lex Luger. Who you got, Mike or Mark?
Yeah, that torture rack will be the last appearance of Lex Luger in this bracket. Scott Hall, the toothpick does it for me. So what's going on?
All right, rolling on. We have a 5 versus 12 seed where I'm going to lead off. We have Eddie Guerrero, who I felt like I liked. I think I liked the Mexican wrestlers versus the 12 seed Badass Billy Gunn. But Badass Billy Gunn was my boy. And as Garrett said at the beginning, the Fame Asser, moving him on. He's going to Fame Ass the shit out of him. John, what do you got?
So loved Badass Billy Gunn. Fame Aster was dope. But for me, Latino Heat can't get much better than that. It was a great intro music. I think that his frog splash, Eddie Guerrero had a great frog splash. I know we were talking about D'Lo Brown and RVD's frog splash, but Eddie Guerrero had a great one as well. So I'm giving mine to Eddie.
John's just trying to give everybody epilepsy over there. But anyways, we'll move over. Mike, who do you got in this one?
So both of these guys are iconic, and Eddie Guerrero was the thing I remember probably most about Eddie Guerrero was the mamacita, right? With his he had a thing with China as well. I think that kind of puts him over the top for me. I think a lot of the DX guys are going to go through, but I think I would put Eddie Guerrero in there
All right. So
right now over the top of Badass Billy Gunn.
it is 2-1 Eddie Guerrero. We're going to kick it to Garrett because I think we lost Mark here for a minute, but we'll see. We might be flipping a coin on this one, but what do you got, Garrett?
Okay, I think I'm gonna flip it. Even though I shouldn't, it should be Eddie Guerrero by landslide. But I'm going with just like who I liked. And I really like Badass Billy Gunn. So I went with him, even though I know Eddie Guerrero was probably one of the best in-ring entertainers of our generation. But I'm going with Badass Billy Gunn.
All right. And
That was my squad back in the day.
And we don't have Mark here, so it's going to be a best of 3. Who should we flip? Should we flip George? I think we should flip Sacagawea.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to flip the Sacagawea. All right.
Who's who?
And Mike, pick who's who. Who's
Eddie's
Eddie?
taking tails because tails never fails.
All right. Oh, Eddie gets
Ooh.
one tails. Dang, it makes me actually do this every time. All right, Mark's back. One heads.
Oh, let Mark decide. Let Mark decide.
No.
We're
I want to
even
see. I want to see who would win before Mark would decide. We're too deep in this. So heads, Badass Billy Gunn moves on. Tails, Eddie Guerrero moves on. And we have one more flip to do. And it would be Badass Billy Gunn, but Mark's back, so we're gonna let Mark pick. So Mark, you got back just in time. Also, Badass Billy Gunn was moving on through a technicality. So who do you got? Eddie Guerrero, the 5 seed, or the 12 seed Badass Billy Gunn?
In the words of Rasheed Wallace, coin don't lie. Badass Billy Gunn would have been my pick anyway. Like some Latino heat, but New Age Outlaws are too great. The Fame-Asser, just a great move. So,
All right, I love it. Badass Billy Gunn is moving on through. So next matchup, we have the 4 versus the 13. And I think we just lost John now, but no one cares. We were kind of losing John. Oh no.
Sorry, I was back.
He's back. I was just talking shit about him. All right, so we have the 4 seed Dusty Rhodes versus the 13 seed Diamond Dallas Page. And John, since you're back, lead us off.
So I was double checking my Dusty Rhodes info. Loved some DDP, loved the Diamond Cutter, but got to give it to Dusty Rhodes, pioneer for what he did. I know he was long before our time, but number 4 seed, getting my vote.
All right, Garrett, who you got in this one?
Oh, I mean, Diamond Cutter was the Diamond Cutter before the RKO. So great finisher. Dusty Rhodes, like his lisp, I loved it, and I still like it.
Okay.
I mean, Cody Rhodes has his lisp too, so it's just like fun hearing. You can like kind of hear Dusty Rhodes in Cody Rhodes when he's on the mic. I'm gonna go with Dusty Rhodes, the American
All right.
Dream.
Mark.
Yeah, DDP, it's me, it's DDP, tossing up the diamond. But Dusty Rhodes is the dad of Goldust, so let's keep it in the family. I'm gonna go Dusty Rhodes.
So what is that 3 Dusty Rhodes? Really that
Mhm.
quick? Damn, I should have went earlier. I was gonna do DDP just because it was fun, like when you were at the pool and if you actually like slap someone on the back, you could leave the diamond shape on their back. But so it would have been a little bit closer if I voted earlier. Mike,
Yeah, I would have went DDP as well.
Oh shit, I messed that one up. Dusty
That's all
Rhodes
good. One of my
moves
favorites.
on.
That's all right.
All right, next matchup we have, Mike, you're leading this one off. 6 versus 11 seed. We have Mick Foley versus Dean Ambrose.
So this isn't a question for me. I think Mick Foley is like, he should be a way higher seed on this, like a 2 seed for me. I mean, you got like, you have Mankind, you have Mick Foley, you got Dude Love. There's probably another 1 or 2 wrestlers that he was.
You
What's
can
that?
think of it. You can think of it.
It's the nope, I can't. It doesn't matter. It's I want to say it's like a lumberjack of some sort because he's with
Close.
Hacksaw
Alright.
Jim. He's with Hacksaw Jim Duggan as the, like, they're the partners, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but he's Cactus Jack.
Ah, yeah, that's right. Okay, and so Mick Foley, I think, should be like a 1 or a 2 seed. I think he's that good, that iconic in the sport. Has a great like storyline from his childhood, like would jump off the top of houses and like take bumps for nothing.
All right, Garrett, who do you got?
I'm going Mick Foley too because I mean he came out as all 3 in the '97 Royal Rumble, and one of the greatest hardcore champions ever. I mean, how many times has that guy landed on tacks?
Oh,
You know, just like even the scenes like with his missing teeth and the ear, you know, the blood. Mick Foley took bumps like no other, so I'm taking Mick Foley.
I like it. John, where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, Dean Ambrose was great in the ring, but like Mike was saying, Mick Foley should have been higher. It's Mick.
All right, Mark.
Just looking at how this bracket's gonna line up, I'm hoping that we can have a great story to tell and maybe the Elite 8. So we'll save it for that. But we gotta go, Mr. Sacco. Mankind at one time like lived or was from the Boiler Room. So just all-time weirdo. The Mask also was really great. And then when he had his tag team with the Rock and Sock connection, gotta go Mankind, Mick Foley.
Yeah, I'm going with Mick Foley as well. And it's all because of Sacco. Garrett, you kind of were inspired by putting fuzzies from your sock in other people's mouths. Like, I wonder if there was a subconscious like connection with you putting socks, fuzzies in my mouth. But, but we'll keep it rolling. Next matchup we have is Batista versus Kevin Nash. And I'm gonna let Mark start this one.
I won't be very fun on this one. I don't really know much about either of these guys. I do know Batista had that faction with Ric Flair and Randy Orton. Garrett don't know the name. That was kind of the end of when I watched. So Kevin Nash, more of a WCW guy from what I remember, was the leader of NWO Wolfpack, I believe. But I'm going to go stick with the loyalty of WWE for the most part. He was also Diesel early in his career, Kevin Nash, maybe. So went with both, but I'm going to go Batista on this one.
All right, Garrett, you go for it.
Yeah, I wasn't too familiar with Kevin Nash. I mean, I played the N64 game, so I knew kind of who he was. He had a good power bomb. Can't remember what it was called. I know that was his finisher, but Bautista, he was great in Evolution. That faction was good. Triple H was also in that faction.
All right.
Yeah,
John.
Bautista.
John, what do you got?
So yeah, not too familiar with both of these dudes. I liked Kevin Nash. I might just need to go with Batista because I saw the new Knives Out movie recently and he was in that. So I think I'm gonna go with that.
All right, Batista moves on. I'm surprised. So I'm familiar with like what Kevin Nash looks like. I thought he was more in our time, but NWO. Okay, that makes
He was
sense.
in WCW during like most of the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I would have went with Kevin Nash just because he had beautiful hair. But Batista is a good actor now. Mike, were you gonna make it close at all, or were you?
Yeah, I was going with big sexy Kevin Nash. So, I mean,
All right. They got to be able to read minds better in this one. So next matchup we have Terry Funk versus Jake the Snake. Terry Funk 7 seed, Jake the Snake 10 seed. And Mike, do you got anything on this one?
so I don't have any like real insight on it. I think I'm gonna go with Jake the Snake. He has a better like moniker, brings out the huge snake every time he comes to the ring or whatever. And then I'm pretty sure he saved DDP's life, so I'll give it to him. Or DDP saved his life. I can't. I'm not sure which way.
All
One way
right,
or the
John,
other.
what do you got?
I don't got nothing on Terry Funk. Not familiar with, but Jake the Snake. If you got a big thing on you, I'm picking you. So I'm going
Oh.
Jake the Snake.
Hell yeah. All right. I'm not gonna go yet. So Garrett, who do you got in this one?
Oh, I don't even know who either of these two are. It's bad. If Mike didn't say that he brought out a snake on him, I wouldn't have known who he was, but now I kind of have an image. So I'll just go with Terry Funk.
All right. Mark, do you got any insight?
A little bit. Terry Funk, I believe, came up with Mick Foley, was an old ECW guy. So a lot of the really hardcore matches would take a bump, just like Mick would. But Jake the Snake, bringing the snake out, it was just like would sit in a bag in the corner, and then like when the wrestler was down, like his gimmick, he would just like throw the snake at them. So just having a live ass like 15-foot snake in the ring is crazy. So we'll go Jake the Snake.
I was gonna go Jake the Snake as well, but more so for Jake Plummer. But next matchup we have is the 2 versus 15, and we have Macho Man Randy Savage, one of my boys from the movie I was talking about, or whatever. We won't get back into that. Versus The Miz. And Garrett, lead us off. I know you're whatchamacallit, reality TV stars shine bright.
And that's my dude. I knew him on Real World, and then he was on Challenge. So I always fucks with The Miz. And I mean, he was okay on the mic, and he's like a wrestler, but I always enjoyed him. He's awesome. Macho Man Randy Savage was a little bit before me, and he was too extreme for me, so I'll do The Miz.
All right. Mark, what do you got?
Macho Man Randy Savage, probably a little problematic in today's world. He had Miss Elizabeth, who I think at one point was his actual wife, but he would always be slapping her around. Not a good look for the Macho Man, but he always told us to snap into a Slim Jim. Oh yeah! So
Okay.
we're gonna go with the Macho Man here.
All right, John, who do you got in this one?
So as much as I love like wife beaten, partner beaten, oh, I think that's code for snapping into a Slim Jim. I'm gonna go with the Miz. I thought Miz was very good on the mic, very like polarizing. I thought he played the job very well and just embodied what you should do. Nothing, not taking anything away from Macho Man, for what he did for the business. But I'm gonna give the Miz a 1-up on this.
Damn, the Macho Man's in the hot seat right now, but I'm gonna go with the Macho Man, just because the Slim Jim thing. Mark said it all. Oh yeah. I don't even know if I said the right thing there. But
Yeah, he's got like, and I don't know who the Miz is in wrestling, right? So I probably had seen him on a reality show or two, but I'm gonna go with Macho Man. He had the flying elbow too, which I would assume that he was one of the first guys that was kind of doing that shit. So
All right, Macho Man moves on. And the No Way Out bracket, I guess, does anything stand out to anybody in the brackets to this point? We don't have to take too long on this, but I'll start with Mark. Like, if we're looking in areas of the bracket, what are you looking forward to in these next rounds coming up?
Yeah, if we're just looking at the No Way Out there, it seems like a pretty weak region for me overall. Be interesting to see if Taker just coasts through just by name. Like I previewed before, could be a really nice Elite Eight matchup if him and Foley get there. Yeah, I'm interested to see how things go. I really like this first round.
Yeah, the No Way Out one, I think, was kind of oversight because it seemed like there was a lot of old guys in there that we weren't too familiar with. Garrett, you got anything that sticks out to you?
Yeah, I'm looking this Triple H Daniel Bryan matchup could potentially be, but that's because I like Daniel Bryan. But then you could even get Triple H versus John Cena coming up. So that's kind of what I'm looking at is the SummerSlam bracket.
Yeah, we'll just get into it. Let's get going. So we're gonna go back to the Royal Rumble right off the bat. You weirdos that love Gold Dust so much. So we have Hulk Hogan, the 1 seed, versus Gold Dust, the 9 seed. And I'm gonna let Mark kick this one off.
Yeah, Hulk is all time, but I'm going Gold Dust. Just gonna keep riding it.
All right, John, what do you got?
So I love Gold Dust. He was my guy. But Hulk Hogan, I believe he in Three Ninjas 3 Mountain something.
Yeah,
Three Ninjas Kick
I mean-
Back.
Yeah, is that what it was?
I don't know.
no, it's like Attack on something mountain. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you're right.
Hulk Hogan was in that. As
Days
much
of
as-
Thunder too.
Okay.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
in.
Hulk Hogan, Real American. I think I might need to give it to Hulk Hogan on this one. Hulker got it.
All right, Garrett.
I wasn't a huge Hulk Hogan guy, but did enjoy him in NWO. I know a lot of people didn't like that turn when he did that, but I thought it was fine. But I'm gonna go with Gold Dust just because I know more of him than I did Hulk Hogan. So
Man, Gold Dust was just such a fucking weirdo to me. He wouldn't have got a vote in this bracket from me anywhere he lined up. So I think that's out. I'm going Hulk Hogan and letting Mike be the decider in this one.
Yeah, so I think the weirdness of what Gold Dust is what like propels him forward, right? But also the greatness of what Hulk Hogan was. I mean, he was everybody's favorite wrestler, like late 80s, early 90s. Like he was just the guy until he made that NWO turn.
So who do you got?
I'm gonna take Hulk Hogan.
All right, Hulk Hogan moves on. Next matchup we have Sting versus Bubba Ray Dudley, and Garrett, lead us off.
going with the lower seed again. I'm choosing Bubba Ray Dudley because the storylines were wild with him, and I didn't really know Sting because he was a WCW guy. And I know what his shtick was, but Bubba Ray Dudley and the glasses, I'm going with him.
All right, Mark, who do you got?
Going with the baseball bat over tables, Sting.
1-1. All right, John, who you got?
I gotta go. I know Sting looked cool and everything, but nothing was cooler to me than Bubba Ray putting people through tables and doing the just zoning out. So I gotta go with Bubba Ray.
I can't tell if John's hammered or if it's just because you're on a phone. And I
I'm
think
a
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. I will go. Mike, you want to go? Because I think I have.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take Sting here. One of my favorites. Really enjoyed him in the WCW world. Think he's a great wrestler, great persona.
I think I'm gonna see, because I like both of these guys. I think Sting was super cool, like the baseball bat shit was super cool. The movie I talked about earlier that I can't even recall the name of what I said, Ready to Rumble. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Bubba Ray Dudley, and Bubba Ray is moving on to fight Hulk Hogan. We need a 113 seed to make it through. It was a good game,
Unbelievable.
but yeah, throwing the people through the table, being Spike Dudley's buddy, I respect that. All right, next one we're going to lead off with Garrett, and we have Paul Heyman versus Bret Hart.
As simple as his t-shirts say, I'm a Paul Heyman guy, always will be. I'm choosing Paul Heyman.
All right, Mike, go for it early.
So as much as like I didn't like him the entire, because he was, I think when I first started watching wrestling, he was anti Stone Cold and I was pro Stone Cold. I'm gonna go with Bret Hart here.
All right, Mark, give it to us. Give it to us straight.
Yeah, I'm going Bret Hart here. Something that we didn't mention earlier, Bret Hart was the victim of the Montreal screw job with Shawn Michaels. When Shawn Michaels put him in the sharpshooter, it was kind of a beneath the surface thing that Bret Hart was leaving WWF to go to WCW, and Vince wasn't going to let that championship belt leave with him. So kind of had them screw Hart over when he was supposed to win the match, and Michaels beat him for the title. But don't know much about Heyman, going Bret Hart.
All right, John, what do you got here?
Heyman, one of the goats on the mic, but Bret Hart, one of the goats in the ring. So got to move Bret forward.
All right, I'm glad you did that, because I was going to just do Bret Hart just so we didn't have the 11 seed, the 13 seed. I guess it happens. But next matchup we have is the 7 versus the 2, and we have Randy Orton in the 7 spot, The Rock in the 2 seed, and we're going to lead this one off with Mark.
Randy Orton definitely has his own place. It's just a tough matchup for him. The Rock, the People's Champ, is moving on.
All right, Mike, who you got here?
I'm rolling with The Rock here.
All right, Garrett.
He had the most electrifying move in wrestling entertainment, so you got to go with The Rock. And plus that one, I forget who was it against Triple H when The Rock's wearing those nice loafers and he does the slide. It was like the best people's elbow ever. But you got to go with The Rock.
All right, I think The Rock already made it. John, you got anything to say about it?
Yeah, I don't see Randy Orton in Moana, so we're going with The Rock.
All right, The Rock gets the clean sweep right there. And next matchup we are moving on to, I know Garrett's excited about this one, so I'm going to let Garrett go first. We have Ric Flair versus Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
Says it all.
Daniel Bryan.
All right, John, what do you got?
So it comes down to a yes versus woo. And I mean, you hear that woo in every facet of life. So I'm giving it's Ric Flair. As much as I love Daniel Bryan, it's Ric Flair.
All right, Mike, who you got?
Ric Flair for me. Like John said, that woo is eternal. I mean, even like his like tagline, like the Cadillac driving, whatever, right? Like that's a big one too. Ric Flair's
All right.
man.
I'm gonna go next, and I'm gonna go with the yeses just to make this close. Ric Flair he had an easy matchup. I voted against him both times though, but Daniel Bryan versus Ric Flair 2-2. Mark, let us know who's moving on.
Yeah, sorry, Garrett. I'm going Ric Flair on this one. Golf season's coming up, and I'm looking forward to hitting a couple Ric Flairs out on the course. So, Ric Flair.
There we go.
He should have moved on anyway. Yes, that was the right move.
I wanted to leave it into a real wrestling fan's hand to move that one. All right, John, you had a lot to say about this guy last time. So we have Chris Benoit versus Triple H. Chris Benoit, the 12 seed, Triple H, the 4 seed. What do you got? Is he good enough to crippler crossface his child
So-
and Triple H?
Triple H, like I said, student of the game, one of the guys in there. Love the pedigree, but crippler crossface, one of my favorite moves to do to your friends, and I mean especially your little kids. I gotta give it to Chris Benoit. Keep the CTE going.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
As much as I want to keep this going, Triple H just means too much to the business, to the industry. Took over for a little bit after Vince stepped down, but it looks like Vince is back again. Got to go Triple H here.
All right. We started with John, so we're gonna go up to Mike.
Yeah, so I'm on Triple H as well.
All
Just
right.
better all around. Don't need to be killing nobody.
Yes.
All right. I will go to let Garrett be the decider. And I'm just gonna go Chris Benoit, just to let Garrett make the decision whether a murderer should move on or not.
No murderer is moving on. Triple H with the pedigree. And the pedigree was so great when you could keep the arms tucked. You didn't have to release. It just made that move that much better. But RIP to the original pedigree.
All right, next matchup we have is the big boys are going at it. I wonder how tall this matchup would be. It's over 14 feet. So we have Big Show as the 11 seed versus Andre the Giant as the 3rd seed. And Mark, lead us off here.
Yeah, two big guys in the ring. Andre the Giant is historic, legends built around him. But I'm going to keep it with the Attitude Era here and go with the Big Show. I remember one time when he pulled the Titantron all the way down and like crushed somebody in the entranceway. That one always lived with me. So let's go with the Big Show here.
Big Show for 1. Garrett, what do you got?
I'm gonna just go with Andre the Giant. I didn't really care for the Big Show. I know he was Attitude Era, but he was just fine to me. I'm sure Andre the Giant was just fine, but the beer shit that's what gets me. So I'll go with Andre the Giant.
All right, Mike, what do you got in this one?
So I think I'm going to go with the Big Show here. I think that they basically have the same shtick, and I got to watch the Big Show. I didn't really get to watch Andre the Giant.
And I think the beer stuff sells me. So I'm going with Andre the Giant. And John, clean us up here.
So I'm going pull up.
Hold up. Oh, John's putting one down. You didn't even finish.
I know, not should I finish? It's too good to finish. Not quite like Andre did, but gotta have the beer. The Big Show, I feel like his gimmick rode off of Andre the Giant's gimmick. He was just Andre the Giant in our era. Like someone mentioned before, the Princess Bride. I gotta move Andre on.
Yeah.
Let him get it. I was gonna leave it up to a coin flip, but couldn't let the coin decide that Andre the Giant moving forward.
Yeah, I just like the way he talks too. I don't know. His voice.
It's
He
a
sounds
very
kind of like a
cool voice.
deaf person. I don't know. I enjoy that
Sounds
for some reason.
Sounds very hurtful.
All right. The last matchup in the SummerSlam region, we have Jerry the King Lawler versus John Cena. And I love Mark's Jerry the King opinion. So, Mark, you're leading this one off.
Yeah, as great as Jerry is behind the mic, the pairing with JR, my boy, I just think Cena means too much. He had too good of a run. Screw it. Nope, going with the King. Going with
All
the
right.
King, my boy.
Flopped at the last second there. All right, Garrett, what do you got in this
I mean, you could make a case for both, but I gotta go John Cena. That's my dude. He's just, even though everyone hated him when he was babyface, I mean, he's been babyface for how long? So, John Cena. I ride with him.
All right, Mike, break up this tie quick.
So I think like I pointed out my biases would be from the Attitude Era. And I kind of forgot all the things that happened with like the divas from that time with the King. So I'm gonna go with the King.
All right, the King's up 2-1. I'm gonna go with John Cena in this one. And John, you get to break 2 ties in a row. You want the guy who loves boobs, or you want the guy that loves? He probably loves boobs too.
Right.
We'll
I
say he
mean,
loves
who doesn't?
butts.
But I'm going with the guy that's got the 5-knuckle shuffle, Mr.
Still-
John Cena.
Still
Can't see him
Still can't see.
as
Yeah.
much as I love the King, but John Cena used to hate him. He's coming back. Love him.
All right. Do you guys mind if I pause it real quick? I gotta piss super bad.
Go ahead.
You guys good?
Yep.
All right, now rolling right into the WrestleMania bracket. Right off the bat, we have Stone Cold, one of our favorites to win this shit, versus the Edge. And I'm gonna let Garrett lead this one off.
Okay. Share your screen, Pat.
Okay. Yep, gotta share my screen too. I was wondering why it looked different.
Okay, so Edge versus Stone Cold. I mean, you think you know me, and then the glass shatters. I'm going with glass shatters, so Stone Cold.
All right, I'll go next just because I got one hot take. It's kind of cool, the glass shattering, like walking in, but I think it's like a little overrated. But Stone Cold was definitely the man of all man. Like the catches of the beers and like the chugging of the beer on the stage, that got me. Stone Cold, 2-0. Mark, what do you got?
I think that's an absolutely wild take, Pat, of the glass breaking being overrated. Tough break for Edge lining up in this matchup in the second round. I feel like he could have made a little bit of a run, but Stone Cold.
All right, Mike, what do you got here?
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know who I'm voting in front of Stone Cold. He's my favorite to win it all.
All right, John, is it a clean sweep?
Yeah. Like everybody said, Stone Cold deserves to move forward. No matter who you are, you ain't doing it. Stone Cold.
Yeah, I'll have to revisit that for you, Mark. Is the da-na-na-na-na. So I
Please
don't know.
do.
There's got to be a better one out there. All right, next matchup we have a 5 versus a 4 seed in Jeff Hardy versus Road Dogg, 2 tag team legends of the game going at it. I love that stuff. I'll go first in this one. And I did love the Hardy Boys flying high, but Road Dogg and Badass Billy Gunn did it for me. Those were my boys. I'm going Road Dogg in this one. John, what do you got?
So, like you were saying, love both of them. Jeff Hardy did the high flying, but I love Road Dogg talking on the mic, doing it up. My vote's for Road Dogg.
All right, we're going to go to Garrett next, but you got to answer a question too, Garrett. Did you ever get a detention for telling anybody to suck it?
I don't know. I got so many. We didn't get detention at Saints.
It was the pink slip.
Yeah, we got pink slips, but I'm sure maybe I got plenty. But I mean, what the perfect like thing to do as a kid growing up is to suck it. So disrespectful.
We should bring it
You're
back.
like 8. right? On top of it, it's like
do it as adults.
Bring it back.
Yeah. Should we bring it back?
Yeah. Just imagine someone scoring a touchdown and doing the suck it thing. That'd be
Yeah.
sick. So who
The
you
suck-
got?
The suck it was great. I am gonna go with Brother Nero, and I'm going Jeff Hardy.
Oh.
That was my squad. I loved the Hardy Boys.
All right, Mark, who did you have in this one?
Oh, you didn't know? That Mike work by the Road Dog was iconic. Going Road Dog, New Age Outlaws. I like them better than the Hardy Boys.
I love it. All right, Mike, was it going to be close?
yeah, it was Jeff Hardy for me. Right, he's probably one of my favorites from that era for sure.
All right, next matchup that we have in the queue, we have Booker T versus Vince McMahon. And Mark, lead us off.
Going with the boss here, more just Vince McMahon stuff. Anytime that he would drop trow and make an employee actually kiss his ass was great television. And also there was a time when it was Batista and somebody else accidentally both went over the top rope in the Royal Rumble at the same time. And the refs didn't know who to give the win to. So they both raised Batista and whoever the other guy's hands were. And Vince comes out, the no chance music plays, and he runs out, dives into the ring and tears both quads. And he's just like sitting on the ground yelling at them and stays in character, going through all the shtick, and had to get carried out of there. Vince is all time. He's going on against Booker T.
All right, I'm going to tie it up real quick, even though your argument right there almost compelled me against it. But I just remember using Booker T in a video game, and I love using Booker T. So can you dig it, sucker? 1-1. And we're going to go to Garrett in this one.
I gotta go with Boss too. I mean, he sucked at selling moves, but man, was he like fun just to watch. He was entertainment. Like they would always talk about how you shouldn't, be wrestling in your own business, but he still did it and he still made it work. Booker T was
Yeah.
great, but Vince McMahon is better. Vince McMahon.
All-time interesting dude. Like you hear the things about his, like, you can't sneeze around him and just
Yeah.
weird shit like that. But Mike, what do you got in this one?
Yeah, so I'm going with the boss, basically due to like his feud with Stone Cold, like, and all the shit that like those two got into together. It was like just a fantastic storyline.
Yeah, they hated each other. John is gone at the moment, but Vince McMahon won
Am I
that
not
one.
here?
Oh shit. No. Man, I don't know. John, what do you have? Are you gonna make it a close game?
I was gonna say five-time champion does not beat the owner. So Vince McMahon moves on.
All right. Vince McMahon
Sorry.
whooped his ass.
Sorry to
Can
bring
anybody
it on
else
for
see
that.
John in here though?
No, John, your screen's off.
Okay. That's fine though. So I'll just know John's in here. So next matchup we have Kane, the 10 seed versus Shawn Michaels, the 2 seed. And John, since you're back in camera, what do you got?
It's a toughie. So love Kane, love the burnt face, love the mask, as I mentioned before. Love the commissioner of Raw, but Shawn Michaels, HBK, sexy man. Love it. Got to give it to Shawn Michaels.
All right, Mike, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, going with the Heartbreak Kid as well.
All right, Garrett.
Yeah, I can't see anyone picking Kane over Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was just too good. Shawn Michaels.
Mark, were you gonna pick anybody over him?
Yeah, I'll take Kane.
All right.
Oh.
I'm gonna take
Okay.
Shawn Michaels as well, but I have my biases there. Next matchup we have is The Undertaker versus Scott Hall. And I don't know who Scott Hall is, so I'm going to take The Undertaker right off the bat. And then I'm going to pass it to Mike.
Yeah, so nope, I'm not. I'm gonna take Scott Hall. I think that very underrated. The Undertaker, super good, but Scott Hall had a long career, was pretty awesome in both the WWF and in WCW. Kind of all around. He was always the bad guy. He's got a great like quote about being a bad guy too, and I can't remember it right offhand, but I'll take Scott Hall.
So we have 1-1, and we're going to go to John here then.
So love what Mike said about Scott Hall. He was a beast. I think it is kind of a tough choice, but I mean, you can't. It's the Undertaker. The man's
right.
from under the ground.
Undertaker 2-1. Mark, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with the dead man over the dead man. Gonna go with dead man in the ring. The Undertaker. One of my favorite Undertaker moves was when he would get on top of the turnbuckle and then walk the tightrope and hold the opponent's hand and then just like jump down and chop at him. Undertaker take this one.
Just like a lot of buildup for a little move.
Yep.
All right. Garrett, were you going to make it close?
No, I was gonna do I am an American badass, or I mean it's Kid Rock.
Yeah. You know Mike loves that. And Mike didn't even take Undertaker. And his favorite musical artist is Kid Rock.
Yeah, so I don't think he came out to American Badass when I was watching wrestling.
Started driving motorcycles? Really? I even remember the motorcycle riding.
It would have been pretty late, I think. I could be wrong, but
It could have been close.
yeah.
All right. Next matchup, we have Garrett lead us off. Badass Billy Gunn versus Dusty Rhodes.
The lips on the back of the trunks. I'm going with badass Billy Gunn, and just because I used him in like SmackDown 2 PS2 game, and I liked badass Billy Gunn better than Road Dogg, so I'm choosing Billy Gunn. And Dusty Rhodes, I don't know enough of him.
Mike, who do you got?
Yeah, so I think same reason as Garrett. I don't know enough about Dusty Rhodes. I understand that he's a living legend, but I'm going to go with Billy Gunn.
Mark, who you got?
Yeah, this is going to be Billy Gunn moving on. Very proactive of the WWF after the New Age Outlaws. Billy Gunn was gay with Chuck, and they were going to have a wedding. So gay wedding in the late Attitude Era was something that people might forget about.
No, I do remember that because I remember getting picked on for him being my favorite wrestler. But anyways, John, who do you have here?
Much love as I got for the Rhodes family, got to go with Billy Gunn. Damn, sir. Keep it going.
The 12 seed whooped some ass and rolled into the Sweet 16. All right, next one we have is Mick Foley versus Batista. Garrett, lead us off here.
Ooh, this one is tough. I really enjoyed Bautista's run. I know it was after the Attitude Era, but Mick Foley was a staple for us Attitude Era people. And just oh my God, he killed him. He killed him. I'm going with Mick Foley.
All right, John, who do you got? You're another someone that still watches wrestling.
Yeah, so I was very disappointed today. Was trying to find my Cactus Jack shirt, but could not find it. So love Batista and his career that he's got going now, but I think he should stick to acting because Mick Foley will kill him in the ring. It's going Mick Foley.
I like it. Mark, who do you got in this one?
It's Foley for me. I don't think
All
this
right.
one's very close.
Foley's moving on for me as well. Mike, you got anything to add?
Nope.
No, pretty easy one there. So now we have Jake the Snake versus Macho Man Randy Savage. And Mike, lead us off with where you're going in this one.
So I'm going with Macho Man Randy Savage. He was still wrestling when I was really getting into it. And he's an all-time great, I think. So gotta push him forward.
The Slim Jims do it for me. I'm going Macho Man as well. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, don't know much about either of these guys. Macho Man.
Garrett, do you have anything to say?
I would have went with Macho Man or Miss Strong Woman.
And John loves the woman beater.
No.
So
Mama said, why would you want a Slim Jim when you could have a thick snake?
you were going with the snake?
I don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't matter anyway.
But that was a good
That's what
line,
Mama-
right?
That's what Mama said, though.
Yeah. She gets Chopper in there with the big fat and nasty one. All right. We are in the Sweet 16, back up in the Royal Rumble region, where we have Hulk Hogan versus Bubba Dudley. Garrett, lead us off.
I think I went against Hulk. No, I chose Hulk Hogan round one. Man, I think I'm just gonna go off do I like the gimmick with Bubba Ray or the iconic match with him and The Rock at WrestleMania? I'm gonna go with Hulk Hogan, NWO Hulk Hogan.
All right, John, who you got here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. It's what do you remember versus everything that happened. And, Bubba Ray was a beast, but gotta go with everything that Hulk Hogan did. Those biceps.
All right, Mark, who do you got?
Well, Hulk Hogan in Rocky 3 threw Sly Stallone over the top rope and into the front row. But Bubba Dudley slammed Mae Young through a table and and just that epic stare. I'm gonna put this one at 2-1. I'm going Bubba Dudley.
All right, Mike, who do you got in this?
Why don't you go first on this one, Pat?
All right, I'll just make it so you get to choose. So I'm gonna go. No, I'm not even gonna. I think like what wrestling became to like what we watched was the way it was because of Hulk Hogan. So I think I like Bubba Dudley better, but this is where my bias. I said I was gonna vote for the guys I like more, but I'm gonna go with Hulk Hogan just because I think he's the staple. He's the man.
Yeah, so I thought you were going to go with the guy you liked, and so I was just going to put Hulk Hogan through anyway. So
Okay. Good planning on your part, because I about did that. All right. Next matchup we have in the Royal Rumble region is Bret Hart versus The Rock. And John, start us off.
So growing up watching things, it was either Bret Hart or The Rock, I guess. But I mean, nowadays it's The Rock, the Brahma Bull, People's Elbow. That's all you see. Why is it? Any question? The Rock.
All right, Mark, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with The Rock here. I just remember during the Attitude Era when The Rock left for a little bit to film The Mummy 2, and he was just like the Scorpion King. He was just kind of a
The
side
Scorpion
character
King was fire.
in that, and then got his own movie, and we're all thinking, oh, The Rock is going off to be a movie star, and all of a sudden he's probably like one of the biggest draws in Hollywood. So good for him. Got to go with The Rock.
All right, Garrett, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, this one's simple for me anyway. I loved The Rock. He was good through everything. I mean, I can tell you a bunch of feuds. You know, you had, like I said, the Hulk Hogan. You had him with Stone Cold. I mean, with Triple H. He was a great heel. I mean, I remember him when there was I think it was Triple H and Stephanie McMahon out in the ring. Triple H is the championship, and he's like out there making fun of both of them, berating them, and like calling Steph a hoe and stuff. And that, like, Triple H had to hold his laughs in. That's how funny it was. So I'm going with The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock is just, I mean, you already put him through, but he was going to be hard to beat. He's been successful in every aspect. He's funny in movies, even. So, The Rock for me. Mike, are you going to throw it?
I think this is a clean sweep. Rock all the way through.
I think he's got every vote so far. So, he's crushing it. All right. So, now we're heading down to SummerSlam, where we have Ric Flair versus Triple H. And Garrett, lead us off.
Man,
I know you're torn.
I'm going against Ric Flair again. I like Triple H. He was great heel. I mean, me and Colin Ruth had feuds in middle school because he liked Triple H and I liked the other guys. So I'm going Triple H.
All right. Mark, who you got?
Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H for me.
Mike?
So I think I have to go Ric Flair here. I think that I thought he was Ric Flair was going to be washed up in the Attitude Era, like that he was almost done wrestling. And then he had a whole, basically another career after that. So I'm going with Ric Flair here.
Yeah, and this comes down to like the people I like versus the people that wrestling shoulders stood on. And I want to make John make the decision. Drunk John in the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to go with Ric Flair as well and let John clean us up here.
So this is very, very, very tough. Because I think both meant a lot. Both meant a lot to the sport. Both meant a lot to the business. And it's a very tough choice. But I always, back in the day, always hated Triple H. Thought he sucked. And then I, realized,
Just the progression of John's drunkenness throughout this thing has been impressive.
Y'all fuck with it. Sorry. And then I realized Triple H was very good at what he did, very, amenable to the sport. But then Ric Flair is driving them Cadillacs, wearing them Rolexes, and you can't get better. So I'm voting for Ric Flair.
Damn. Ric Flair moves on. And whatever. I'm not going to get into what I was thinking, but Ric Flair moves on. We're not doing a coin flip there, but it could be a coin flip one. Next up, we have Andre the Giant versus John Cena to close out the Sweet 16 in the SummerSlam area. And Mark, what do you got?
Can't see me, John Cena.
Garrett, what do you got?
John Cena.
All right. John, are you still there?
Yes.
What do you got?
Sorry.
You can't see him.
Okay. That was
You can't see me. Gotta go John Cena.
Yeah.
all right. John Cena moves on. I was probably going to vote for John Cena there as well. Mike, did you have?
I think I was leaning that way as well.
All right. So we have the 1 versus the 2 seed in the Royal Rumble, and we have the 1 versus the 2 seed in the SummerSlam. So apparently this bracket was set up fairly correctly. So we'll see going through. So, and I think it's gonna play ones versus twos. We didn't even have to play this bad boy out. So up in WrestleMania, we have Stone Cold versus Road Dogg. And what do you got, Garrett?
Stone Cold, Austin 316. I mean, he's the GOAT. So him.
All right, Mark,
Yeah, Stone Cold.
Mike,
Stone Cold.
John.
Yo, you know what's up.
All right, Stone Cold clean sweeps
Yeah,
his way to the Elite Eight. Next one we have is Vince McMahon versus Shawn Michaels. I'm gonna go first. Shawn Michaels was my first favorite wrestler, so I'm going with Shawn Michaels. Next we'll go with John. What do you got there? Jailbird John, you still here?
Yo, am I? I gotta go with Shawn Michaels. Love me some sweet chin music.
Garrett, what do you got?
I was honestly, I liked Shawn Michaels, but there was others that I liked more than him. And just the feud with Stone Cold and Vince McMahon alone makes me think Vince McMahon will be fine.
I like that though opinion because I think that did drive wrestling through like the majority of the time that I watched it. So Mark,
Right.
what do you got?
Yeah, I think I got to go with the boss here, Vince McMahon. Even just to set up the next matchup, if we can get Stone Cold versus Vince one more time for a trip to the Final Four, we got to do it.
Let's
All
do
right.
it. Let's put Vince through. I mean, that storyline is iconic. It's fantastic. And he's run it with a few guys, but like him and Stone Cold, it was perfect.
Vince McMahon moves on. We won't even correspond with me on this one. All right. So the next one we have is Into No Way Out, and we have The Undertaker as the 1 seed versus Badass Billy Gunn as the 12 seed. And I'm gonna let my bias rip right away. And I'm going Badass Billy Gunn is making it to the Final Four for me, but we'll kick it to Mark.
We're gonna even this one up. It's Undertaker. Love Billy Gunn, but Taker's too much.
John, let's get you out of the way while we can.
Yeah, I'm voting Undertaker. Billy Gunn's getting full tombstone. Paul Bear is lighting him on fire. That's
All
what's
right.
happening.
Garrett, what do you got?
I'm going Undertaker. This is where Badass Billy Gunn's run stops, which is fine because he made a good run, but it's Undertaker in this one.
And Mike, clean it up.
Yeah, I'm going with the Undertaker probably too. I mean,
All right.
if I had
Too
to be the
easy.
contrarian to get a final vote, I might have done it. But
Quick and easy. All right. So next matchup we have Mick Foley versus Macho Man Randy Savage. John, lead us off, you drunk motherfucker.
So Mick Foley, versus Macho Man. I'm my worst forget about today is not wearing my Cactus Jack t-shirt. So I'm 100%. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, where you, who are you voting for? We can hear you.
Okay. So I'm voting Mick Foley. I wish I had a Cactus Jack shirt on.
We got that one. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Again, just to set up the matchup, but I think he wins anyway in my heart. I'm going Mick Foley.
All right. Garrett.
Yeah, Mick Foley. I didn't know Macho Man Randy Savage, and Mick Foley was just, he was too good with all the blood and the tax.
And Mike.
So, I mean, like I said early in this, Mick Foley should have been a higher seed for sure.
Yeah.
Could have easily swapped these two seeds. I don't know where Mick Foley sits in the seeding, but he could have easily been a 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah. And I mean, it all makes sense now that we get down to it. So in the Elite Eight, we have Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, 1 versus 2 seed, Ric Flair versus John Cena. I think that one could have been where it flipped, where Triple H could have made it in. And then in the other region, WrestleMania, Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon being the only 3 seed to make it in. I guess we don't have all 1s versus 2s. So good. All right. So Elite Eight, Royal Rumble. Who's coming out of the Royal Rumble region? Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Garrett, go.
Rock.
The Rock.
I voted, or I went against Hulk Hogan, already, and I haven't yet. The Rock wins.
All right.
That's fine in my eyes.
Mark, who you got?
Pat, I'd actually kind of like your opinion on this one.
Okay. So
It doesn't matter what you think because The Rock is going through.
I went for that hook, line, and sinker. I like it, Mark. All right. Mike, who you got?
Well, the first 2 jabronis got it right. I'm going with The Rock.
All right. The Rock is moving into the championship or into the final 4 as a 2 seed. And that's all the further we need to go with that one. So John, start us off with Ric Flair versus John Cena. And just remember the whole time, we can hear you.
Oh, so it's a tough thing.
Now we can't. Okay, there.
Yeah, now we can.
We're right there. We're right there.
Oh, now you can hear me, but you can't see me.
Oh,
But
John's been playing
Same.
with that. I haven't caught on yet.
I guess the best is the opposite with Ric Flair, where you can hear him, but you can't see him, right?
Sure.
So
You're-
I'm going with the Flair.
Oh, you're going with the Flair. I was surprised about that. Okay. John's keeping us on the edge of our seats. Let's kick it up to Mike. Mike, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, so I don't know. So both these guys are kind of at the fringe of what I thought the Attitude Era was, right? So obviously Ric Flair was there the whole time, but like I think he was in WCW during the majority of it, and Cena was a tail end guy. And so I don't know who I would take here. Probably I'm gonna go 2-0 to Ric Flair at the moment and let you guys either bring him back or push him through. So
All right. I'm going with John Cena. And I'll go now just to get him 1 vote in there to keep this thing interesting. And we'll kick it to Mark.
Yeah, I'll go with Cena too. I'll let Garrett decide it.
Very serious, Garrett.
Oh wow. Okay. No, this is a good one. And being down 2 votes to none to coming back to take the matchup 3-2, John Cena wins slightly just because I've liked John Cena for a long time. And the spinner belt was great at that time too. He's the one who had that. So let's do John Cena.
All right. So in the final 4, we have The Rock versus John Cena, our first matchup in there. So we're going to go to the WrestleMania to see who comes out of there. And it's Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon. And I'm just going to give it to Stone Cold right away and get out of the way and let some of the experts go about it. So if I don't know if this one's going to get close, but Mike, who are you going with?
So I'm going with Stone Cold. Like I said, I don't think there's anybody that can hold a candle to what I thought Stone Cold was growing up. Like the Austin 316, I just whooped your ass. I'll stomp a mud hole in your ass and then walk a dry. Like I liked them all, right? he had all the good lines.
All right, Garrett. Never mind. Garrett, go for it.
Okay, I mean, they had so many matches, but one that always sticks out is the Hell in a Cell at My Bloody Valentine. That was a great match, and I mean, no one's gonna beat Stone Cold, so Stone Cold.
All right, Mark, who you got?
Yeah, it's easy for me. The Boss had a good run, but it's Stone Cold.
All right, John.
Stone Cold.
Too easy. Too easy. And then the last matchup we have down in No Way Out, Undertaker versus Mick Foley. Garrett, lead it off.
I am gonna maybe throw a surprise at you, but I'm gonna go with. I think I like Mick Foley better.
All right.
I can't really tell you why because I like them both, but Mick Foley, yep, the hardcore champion. So Mick Foley.
And I'll get mine out of the way early. And I think this is part of my bias, and that's why I want to kick it out. Is I think I like the Undertaker more in the like when he was the American Badass, but before that, I like the guy sticking a sock in someone's mouth. So I'm going Mick Foley, taking this one up 2-0 right away, and I'm gonna kick it to John.
So I was sitting there thinking, which shirt am I gonna put on? I put on my
Damn it. I messed that up.
Cactus Jack shirt, which it's Cactus Jack, it's Mick Foley, it's Dude Love.
All right.
Need
So-
I say more?
No, because Mick Foley moves on. Mike, were you gonna make it interesting?
I don't think so. Like
Yeah, I don't
mean,
think anybody was.
I would have stood up for the Undertaker. Just the ministry and the corporate ministry storyline. I really like that when they would sacrifice people, they'd toss people up on Undertaker's symbol and like raise them above by the Titantron was a good story.
That's right.
Yep. But we have it set. It came down to it. The bracket was pretty well set up. I think Mike said it best where Mick Foley probably could have moved his way up to a 2 or 3 seed. 3 seed for sure, 2 seed probably, especially in our watching era. But anyways, in the final 4, we have The Rock versus John Cena. Then we have Stone Cold versus Mick Foley. And we're going to go with the west side of the bracket first. I'm going to let Mark lead this off. So we have The Rock versus John Cena. And go for it, Mark.
I probably could have predicted this, just all of us being Attitude Era guys. I think it's only fitting that our final is 2 of the icons from that era. I think we all know where we're going on the right side, but I got The Rock moving on in this matchup.
Garrett, what do you got?
If you smell what The Rock is cooking. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Got
The
it.
Rock. It's Mark said it great. This is the matchup we wanted. I think we're gonna get it. Let's start with The Rock.
All right. Mike, what do you got?
yeah, I'm The Rock. I think kind of for sure.
John?
Mike, you have some weed over there?
No, I wish I did.
See, John's going with bits here, and I didn't understand it. But The Rock moves on. The Rock gets my vote as well. We're going to move to the east side of the bracket here, where we have Stone Cold versus Mick Foley. And I think this, yeah, you guys were right. I didn't have the foresight to see this coming, but it does seem very obvious now that we've got what we've got. So I'm gonna start with Garrett again in this one. Stone Cold versus McFoley.
Definitely Stone Cold. Just nothing will be better than the beer being thrown and slamming them together and pouring it down your gullet.
That was the shit. All right, John, what do you got down there before you fall asleep?
To me, Stone Cold Mick Foley is one of the toughest things. And
Whose shirt were you gonna wear today if you got the shot too?
Wait,
Whose shirt would you have wore if you got the chance to?
Mick Foley's, but I'm not wearing one, so Stone Cold.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Got to be Stone Cold. Let's get that championship matchup going.
All right, Mike, did you have an argument?
So I like Mick Foley a lot, but I don't feel like I can vote away from Stone Cold. I think that it's too overwhelming.
Yeah, Stone Cold was wrestling to me, but we will move on to the championship, and that's what I'll say right off the bat. I'm gonna take Stone Cold. Too damn cool. And then I will kick it to Mike. Mike, you go for it.
Yeah, so I think that this is actually pretty challenging. I think the Rock, like if it comes down to straight wrestling, I think Stone Cold has it for sure. If you go on what like either of these two guys means in terms of like our overall culture for the last 30 years, you could easily go with The Rock. I'm going to put The Rock in a 0-2 hole though, and I'm going to go with Stone Cold.
All right, Garrett. Yeah, Garrett, go for it.
Yeah, I am curious just to see how the rest of this plays out. But I mean, even in these matchups in real time, back when we were kids, I was still rooting for Stone Cold versus The Rock. It sucks because I know the guy that missed the episode today, I feel like he would be on The Rock. So too bad, so sad for that loser.
Yep. All right, Mark, we gonna bury The Rock or what do you got?
Yeah, this one is it's really close. I was a huge Rock guy, but Stone Cold is just he's our childhood. He's everything. It's the Texas rattlesnake. And I think The Rock would maybe even agree here. He could sell the stunner like nobody else, and he's going to sell it right now. So Stone Cold's our champion.
And John, last opinions. Take us home, John.
Gotta be Stone Cold.
So clean sweep at the end of the show. So that will wrap up the men's wrestling championship. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I know it did get long. So, but I appreciate you coming on. Garrett, thanks for your expertise. Mark, thanks. John, thanks for chugging some beers for us.
Yeah, I appreciate it too, guys. Like, I enjoyed this quite a bit. It was good nostalgia for me.
I don't think Stone Cold or The Rock had one vote against him up until the championship round.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, I think everyone could have seen that played out exactly how it did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wish I would have seen it more clearly. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the best championship that we could have gotten.
I think if you got guys that watched in more like the 80s, Hulk Hogan, your Ric Flairs, like would have done better.
Right. Yeah.
Shot. Yeah. But yeah, with the area that we came up with, I mean, those are the two biggest wrestlers.
Yep.
Yeah, it's what you want to see in a championship match. I think in all of our opinions, these were the two best teams or the two best wrestlers. in this bracket, and glad they got to meet in the championship.
Yeah, no, it all worked out good. But yes, like I said, thank you guys for coming on. John, thank you for chugging some beers with us.
The
And
banging on the drum, world champion, Stone
Should I
Cold
chug one more quick?
Steve Austin.
yeah, chug one more, John. Well, we give that man a BJ.
A BJ.
Best job goes out to Stone Cold, and he is our champion. But once again, thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
No, it's always a pleasure. Anytime you guys want to come on, let us know.
And
Right.
John just chugged a beer right through his butt. Good work, John.
And maybe we can have another episode where John shotguns some sun drops. Maybe I won't mind that.
Yeah, I like that. We got to go back to our roots with a couple things.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a process working. But yeah, John, we'll get you to shotgun some sun drops. But
Thanks.
awesome. Thank you guys.